The Toronto Raptors get a win on Halloween versus the undermanned Cleveland Cavaliers. Things get spooky, but Jamison Battle comes up clutch. Let's go to the film room.
The only thing that's originally filmed is that Scottie. And I've studied older films and tried to figure out how I got that impression. I was getting meetings right in the cutting room.
The unique thing about film is an art form
exactly.
is the editing.
Folks, if you don't know, now you know. Jamison Battle is a marksman shooter, and that is why he is in the NBA and playing for the Toronto Raptors. He was a perfect 6 of 6 from 3 and knocked down 3 massive outside shots in the fourth quarter to help the Raptors pull out this win. He obviously was excellent at spreading the floor for the Raptors and knocked down 3 of his shots from the exact same corner at a pretty pivotal time in the game when the Cavaliers were making a run in the third quarter. But I like how much he roams. So, clutch situation, 43 seconds left. This would be the dagger here. And watch as obviously most of the attention will go towards Brandon Ingram here as he's trying to call for the ball. But watch as Jamison is going to shake up here, sneak behind Evan Mobley, pop out to this area, and get a wide open shot. So he drifts up here and catches the ball, just enough space for him to let this shot fly. Really pretty stuff from Jamison Battle. But I also want to highlight that he's more than just a three-point shooter. I think he does a pretty good job of making decisions on the go. And I also think he has a knack defensively. He's long, so he can make plays on the ball. Here, he just blocks Luke Travers at the rim, and then the Raptors are out and running. So he's pretty good at understanding timing on some of these defensive plays, too. As we welcome you inside the film room, folks, the Toronto Blue Jays weren't able to close it out. They were not able to do so. It's all good. Was hoping I could do a little celebration vlog for you guys from downtown. But it is what it is. That did not happen. You can celebrate, though, with the Toronto Raptors picking up their second win of the season. They are now 2-4 after beating a Cleveland Cavaliers team that was missing Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Jared Allen, and Max Strus. They had Evan Mobley. They had DeAndre Hunter. They had Lonzo Ball. I'm a big fan of Jalen Tyson. I think he's going to be a pretty good player moving forward for them. But for the most part, didn't have much of their 64-win rotation available to them. And this was a game where the Raptors, I wouldn't say a must-win. It's not a must-win early in the season, but you better damn win against an injured Cavaliers team like this, especially coming off of the bad losses that you've had. This was it was a trap game for the Raptors because of the injuries, but you had to take advantage of this game. It was just must win is a little bit too crazy, but you better damn win in these scenarios. And the Raptors did win. Obviously, Battle is the story of the night. 20 points, knocked down 6 threes. He was tremendous, especially with 2 clutch shots in the fourth quarter that really set up the Raptors to finish out this game, where in the third quarter, the Cavaliers made a run. So at the end of the first half, it was 48-43. Raptors were in pretty good shape throughout. But in that third quarter, the Cavaliers made a run. I believe they started the third quarter on a 14-0 run and got out to a pretty decent lead. And let me just double check here what the lead was for the Cavs. So yeah, they eventually got out to a 10-point lead. The Raptors clawed back. A big part of that comeback was Jamison Battle knocking down shots. And I think, look, the fact that Battle is getting opportunity here, the fact that Jacoby Walter is getting opportunity here, this is something that we anticipated, or at least I anticipated going into the year. There's going to be competition for that 2-guard spot. There's Ochai Agbaji, who's hungry for minutes and hungry for a contract. There's Jamison Battle who's hungry for minutes, who is a marksman shooter, who wants to show he can do more than that, and I believe he can do more than that. And honestly, I think he's an NBA player. I think he's like set in stone NBA player. If the Raptors do not give him opportunity, he will be able to find opportunity elsewhere. And so I really believe in Jamison Battle's potential to really crack this rotation. So there's pressure. That pressure will be good for Jacoby Walter and for Grady Dick, who, Walter has been in and out of the rotation, has not gotten tons of playing time. He did get playing time tonight, 10 minutes. Grady Dick has fallen out of the rotation a little bit, played 5 minutes tonight, had one dunk, but really sparsely got opportunity here again. And I think part of that is the Raptors trying to figure out their defensive identity. I've went in depth before on why I don't think it's fair to pin all of their problems on Grady when most of the team is not doing well defensively either. But nonetheless, this competition is good. It's good that Battle had a game like this. It makes it so that these other guys who obviously have higher ceilings as players perform to their outcomes. Feel the pressure. I think feeling the pressure is actually a good thing for some of these younger players. Iron sharpens iron at the end of the day. So that's awesome that Jamison had this game, and it was for a pivotal Raptors win. The Raptors also were led by their trio for the most part in the scoring department. They got a good boost off of the bench, obviously, with Sandro Mamukelashvili scoring 11 points. He had a really good game. I thought he made some good passes, knocked down a three, played some pretty good defense as well throughout this game against a smaller Cavaliers team than expected. Jamal Shed came in and provided a boost instantly too. I think the pace that he plays with and the decision-making that he has, just like the quick twitch decision-making is really good. And obviously what Battle provided was a nice boost. But for the most part, the Raptors were led by B.I., Scottie, and RJ in different ways. And I think one of the more interesting things was how all three of these guys impacted the game throughout their different stretches. I thought Scottie and RJ were really excellent in the first half of this game, especially offensively. And then B.I. took over in the second half, and particularly in the fourth quarter when in clutch situations, it was his time to shine. So let's break all of them down together. Let's talk about Scottie first. Let's go into RJ and how he's able to fill his role, and then B.I. in the fourth quarter. I've mentioned how I am a big fan of the way Scottie has started this season with the physicality that he's dealing with. So he recognizes that the smaller Craig Porter is on him. He's like, all right, this is barbecue chicken for me. Empty side pick and roll between CMB and Scottie Barnes. CMB slips this screen. He just touches Dean Wade, and that gives Scottie enough room to get downhill. And again, finishes through traffic. Really nice stuff from Scottie. Sets a bit of a screen here on Jalen Tyson, so that creates an opportunity for B.I. to kick it out to RJ. That makes the defense scramble, right? So now they have to recover out to the corner, creates a wide open opportunity. I've talked about slipping screens and why Scottie loves them. This is exactly why he loves them. So, handoff situation, he slips right to the basket. Defense is too late. He catches middle. This is an immediate advantage for them. Nice kick out pass to RJ Barrett for the three. And so if you look at the box score, Scottie Barnes ended up with 14 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block on 14 shots. Not the most efficient offensive night for him, but I thought he was really impactful throughout this game using his physicality. All right, let's go to RJ. So RJ Barrett is knocking down 40% of his threes to start the season, and he's knocking down 44% of his catch and shoot looks off of the three-point shot so far this year. That adds so much of a wrinkle to his game because teams have to guard him further away from the basket, and that creates wide open driving lanes for him to finish. And so you see here, he gets the defender off of his spot, Craig Porter, way too physical for him, finishes with the right hand. Really nice move from RJ. He knows how to use that physicality as a cutter too, just heady pass from Jamal Shed, and again, uses the physicality and one from RJ Barrett. The Raptors honestly often rely on RJ as their bailout offensively sometimes, especially when there is no Brandon Ingram on the floor, and so 8 seconds left, 55 seconds in the third quarter. Raptors need a bucket to cut into this Cavs lead. He just takes Dean Wade off the bounce, uses it, and just what a crafty finish from RJ Barrett. Truly a really tough look there from him, and he still knocks it down. But of course, it starts with a three-point shot. It makes him so much more versatile for this lineup, makes him make so much more sense with this starting lineup, and he has fit in so well to this role that they have asked him to play, man. Because, and look, I No, from the comments that I read on here, everybody's like, why don't you guys talk about RJ more often? He has been note perfect. I want to establish that very clearly here. RJ has been perfect, specifically offensively. I think defensively, there's obviously more work to be done, but that applies to a lot of players on this team right now. But man, offensively, he has been excellent. Knocking down his threes, working within the seams of the offense, not consuming too much of the usage, and just thriving in his role. And there were so many questions coming into the season of like, how are these three guys going to work together? How is RJ going to fit in? Is RJ going to get traded? And like, man, I don't think we have to ask those questions right now, to be honest with you. Like, I think RJ has been one of the most consistent pieces on this team to start this year. And if this team is good eventually this season, he's going to be a big part of that success. Another big part of the Raptors' success will be Brandon Ingram, especially if they're going to play close games like they did tonight. They will need him in clutch situations. So in clutch situations, it is Brandon Ingram time for the Toronto Raptors. And I like that they are running these guard screen actions for him to give him a bunch of options. So Jamison Battle has been knocked down in this game, and he's going to set a ghost screen. Ghost screen means exactly what you imagine it means. He is going to ghost this. He's not actually going to set a screen. He's going to appear to set a screen. It's Halloween. We're talking about ghosts. Why not? So he just only brushes up against DeAndre Hunter and pops out here. Now, this gives options for Brandon Ingram because he can decide, well, am I going to, if they switch this, if the Cavaliers are going to switch this action because of Jamison Battle, I can take Lonzo Ball and go downhill, or I can pass it to Battle, and he probably gets a good look, and he's been knocking down his shots. So what happens is they don't switch this action, and Battle gets Lonzo off his spot and knocks down the three. Now, this is another way the Raptors like to set up Brandon Ingram, and if you look at it, there's a lot of options. Again, RJ Barrett on the weak side corner, he's knocked down a good amount of his threes. Jamison Battle on the other side, kind of in the slot area, he's knocked down a good amount of his threes. Scottie Barnes getting into the dunker spot to be able to get offensive rebounds, but also just be this physical force on the inside. And then he also has Emmanuel Quickley one pass away, and it's unlikely that they're going to help off of Emmanuel Quickley, even though he's not having a good night offensively. And so what happens is BI can take Dean Wade in the post, and he's likely not going to get a ton of help. So he's able to go one-on-one with him. No one is here from the help side yet. Mobley starts to creep up, but Scottie makes his presence felt by popping into the paint. And it's just one-on-one against Dean Wade, and he finishes inside. Great move from Brandon Ingram. So this is off a second chance opportunity where the defense is already scrambling, but they have their matchups. And so once again, it's a post-up situation, empty side where he has DeAndre Hunter. And I just love the bag work from Brandon here, truthfully. So instead of turning and spinning, like he can, BI can spin this way, and there's Jalen Tyson here, so not a rim protector, but he can finish if he wants to. And he's got the advantage there because he can actually spin this way and has a decent amount of space. But instead, he actually baits DeAndre Hunter into reaching in, foul, and one. Big shot by Brandon. And as we were talking about these ghost screen situations, this is another opportunity for a ghost screen a little bit later in the game. Now, this is that second option, right? So they do switch this, and now it's BI versus Lonzo Ball. Now, honestly, Lonzo Ball is a good defender. I would live with this if I was the Cavaliers, truthfully. And, he doesn't give up a lot of space. BI has to settle for a tough look. BI makes a lot of those shots, but he just missed this one. And this is the play that sums it all up for the Raptors. Again, they ran a play that involves Jamison Battle and Brandon Ingram together. It's a cross screen in the paint. And so Battle is screening for Ingram so that he can get Lonzo Ball and isolate in this area. Now what happens is that they actually mess this up. The Cavaliers mess up this switch. Battle does a great job of recognizing that. He just pops out to that area. Great recognition by Quick to realize they've messed up the switch. And again, it's a wide open shot for Jamison Battle, who had an electric night. And so clutch situations for the Toronto Raptors, means Brandon Ingram time. Innings eating situations. We need a bucket here. Please help us in the third quarter is RJ Barrett time. And I really think a time to physically impose himself and establish himself on the interior is the start of the game for Scottie Barnes. I think that's the way the onion gets peeled for this Raptors offense. I think that's how they should be at their best, is when Scottie is establishing himself as a physical force, which keeps, throughout the game, think of it like this, right? If a guy is dominating you on the inside to establish, you're like, okay, we gotta consider that throughout this game. So now your mindset changes to where you're like, we gotta pay more attention to Scottie Barnes. And so the attention Scottie Barnes seeks throughout the game allows for RJ Barrett to get more open opportunities, whether it be off of the catch, whether it be attacking downhill, whether it be cutting to the basket, and Scottie can make plays from those scenarios. And then in clutch situations, yeah, it's Brandon Ingram time. It's tough shot making time, and the Raptors will live by that this season. So just thought it was a cool way to explain the Raptors' overall offensive approach. And, Samson and Trey did a podcast on Thursday talking about how much the Raptors are leaning on their forwards to do the jobs for them. Colin Murray-Boyles is one of those forwards. And I think they are really leaning on their three-headed monster offensively, too, to figure out how they're going to go through this next season. Look, we'll see how they deal. I thought they looked better defensively. First time this year, they allowed less than 110 points. A little golf clap for them. The defense still needs to be better, and it needs to be better against better competition. This Cavs team was undermanned. It's hard to read too much into this type of game, but it is good that they won the game. It's important to win against the teams you're supposed to win against. So that's all I got for y'all. Speaking of teams you have to win against, the Blue Jays must win Game 7. I have invested too much of my life. The Blue Jays have invested too much of their lives and times. I know a lot of you have been locked in for the last month for this playoff race. It has been electric. It has been awesome. I've built so many memories and moments. I've spent so much money on merch. I have been so locked in since July and August, truthfully, on this Blue Jays team, and they have been special. It would be absolutely heartbreaking if it ends in Game 7 with a loss. I'm not sure my mind, my body, my soul can take that. I need a win. I need a win. I need a win. We need a win. Folks, thank you very much for tapping into the Raptors Film Room. Make sure to subscribe to Raptors Republic as always. And I'll see you guys on Sunday. Jaw's in town. The Memphis Grizzlies are in town. That should be a fun game. I'll be at that one for the Athletic NBA Daily. So check out some stuff from them. I will see you guys later. Peace.